David.
You know, that guillotine says it all. The French Revolution, you know, the guillotine, the guillotine. I mean, there is this. Now, I understand this is one side of the left. This is the far side of the left, but at the same time,
that's the one we see.
And
they obviously
exactly
have a lot of numbers.
Point. They're the ones that right now are driving the Democratic Party. I mean, it is the quad. It is the radical left of the party that is driving the party right now, and they are dangerously close to these people. And it is something we've seen historically going back centuries, you know, where the radicals, the ones who have blood in their eyes and are calling for blood, that sometimes control situations. Now, we just had a situation at Grand Central Station. I know people who don't like New York aren't too concerned about Grand Central Station, but it's one of the major metro hubs in the United States, and it was controlled by these radicals, by people who are screaming in favor of a terrorist organization, Hamas. So, I mean, that's a fear that I have. I know it's not in the middle of the Democratic Party, but they have a lot of influence with Democrats right now.
Well, look, and legally, the problem with the Grand Central Terminal situation was that people were locked in against their will with a bunch of lunatics behind them that were willing to lock them in. Like, you don't know what these people will do. They're already, and it's late at night. You're trying to get home from work. I mean, it was just awful. So, Emily, I don't know how the law looks at this, but when I hear somebody say that they wish the president were dead, that's not an exact threat on I will go kill him. But is that free speech?
This entire thing is ludicrous. I want to talk about that study because I thought the results were really fascinating. It was rooted in moral judgment that the left had against conservatives, and they considered conservatives harmful and immoral. And I point out that as we've watched the left create a monster of Donald Trump, of equating him with Hitler, then that's why they deem it justifiable to excuse violence. And it's absolutely not. But what would you expect from a party that glorifies killing babies? It frankly doesn't surprise me at all, right? And we talk about and have covered many times the one-sidedness of people who wouldn't have Thanksgiving dinner with relatives who thought politically differently. Well, that was on the liberal side. People who couldn't have a relationship with someone who thought politically differently. That was on the liberal side. The list goes on. The inability of the left to hold true empathy or compassion while calling themselves the party of compassion is out. It's just astounding. And yet conservatives and the right maintain praying for them, maintain acknowledging that every life of theirs is valuable, that they are not worth less than another, even though we have been subjected to that same judgment coming from this entire time. That study is abhorrent.
So, Carly, one thing that really can't be missed is the fact that when you ask these people, they openly will tell you, I wish the president were dead. I wish this for Elon Musk. Some of these people, I assume, they protest a lot, so maybe they don't have jobs. I don't know. Or maybe they work nocturnally. Who knows? But we see them in the daytime protesting. What do you think their bosses say when they see that? It's like they are unabashedly hateful.
Yeah, and Harris, the admission really stuck out to me. And I also want to point out that the group who did this study is affiliated with Rutgers University, so it's not some like right-wing fringe group. And the numbers here are staggering. 31 to 38% stated that it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk and Donald Trump. 48 to 55% of left of center respondents felt the same way. So this is not some fringe group on one dark corner of the internet feeling this way.
They have numbers.
This is a lot of people who feel so justified in their thoughts that they would be willing to admit them to the surveyor. Like, yeah, I think it's okay to murder two human beings. And this is after 2 assassination attempts. So I think that there does need to be a reset in Washington. And you get AOC, John Fetterman, Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump, Democrats and Republicans coming together, maybe even having an event and saying the tone needs to be brought down here.
Yeah. You know, there is a cultural and moral rot in this country. And this is an outgrowth of that. This is bigger than politics. There's the 30% who justify the violence against Trump and Elon. How abhorrent. But that's not just one poll. We have seen the polls about Brian Thompson, who was murdered and assassinated in daylight a few streets beside us. 48% told Generation Lab that killing was justified. You don't believe a second poll? Let's go to a third poll. Emerson, 41% found that killing was acceptable. You've got Brian Thompson, justification of violence. You've got Trump, justification of violence. You've got Hamas, who killed little infants, and the justification of that violence. There is a deep moral rot in our country, a dehumanization, a devaluing of life. And all of this is unsurprising. It has nothing to do with politics. People are missing that core. They're missing their conscience. And we've got to get back to a place where we find that conscience, and then you're going to stop getting polls like this with assassination attempts and violence we see out of the country.
I wish we had more time, because I want to know why. How did they lose it? They live in the same world we do, and we're not built like that. I want to know why, but that's another show.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.